Hi, it's Chester Tugwell at Blue Pecan Computer Training. In this video we're looking at creating reports in Excel using the Power View add-in. Now, first thing you'll need to do is just to make sure that you've enabled the Power View add-in. To do that, just go up to File and then go to Options, Add-ins. You'll need to go to COM add-ins down here in the Manage drop-down, go to Go, and then if you've got Power View available to you, you need to tick it here. If Power View doesn't appear there, then probably your version of Excel doesn't support the add-in. Okay, so I'm in Excel 2013 here. It's the standalone version. It does support the Power View add-in. Now, what I'm doing is I'm actually going to create a Power View report based on just one table. The Power View add-in supports really well reports databases that have been combined using the Power Pivot add-in, where you're creating a kind of relational database. But you can also use it with just a flat database, one table database. So this is what this video is actually going to focus on. So I've got my database here. Basically, it's a list of sales by date, branch, product group, customer type, and revenue. The first thing I'm going to do is click into the data and convert it to a table, and you can do that very easily by going to the Insert tab on your ribbon, then click on Table, or you can use the shortcut key Control-T. I click on OK. My table has headers. Your database should always have headers. Click on OK, and I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call this Sales Data. I'm writing the name up here in the table name box, which has appeared on the Design tab. This is a contextual tab that only appears on your ribbon when you've converted a range to a table. So I've pressed Enter to confirm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Insert tab, and because I've enabled the Power View add-in, I've got this Power View button in the Reports group on my ribbon on the Insert tab. So I click on Power View, and what it's going to do is it's going to open up another sheet, and on this sheet I can begin to develop my report. Now what it's done is it's initially just brought in all the data from my database into the report. Nothing special about that so far, but what we're after really with Power View is some effective visualizations of our data to make it a bit more meaningful. Right, so first of all I'm just going to delete what it's initially given me, so I go back to using an empty report. Now I've got two tables here. Primarily that's appeared because of some stuff I was doing earlier on, but we're interested in this sales data table. This is the one that I've reported. Now, first of all, I want to be able to view my data by product group, say. So I've got this product group field. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the product group field up into the report. I'm just dragging it into the report, and there we are. It gives me a list of all my product groups. Now I'm actually going to convert it to what's called tiles. So you can see up on this Design tab that I've now got for Power View, I've got this Tiles button. So I'm going to click on Tiles. And you can see what it's done is actually, if I just extend this out, it's created a little button for each of the product groups in my database. It's also given me a kind of a window or a tiled area that I can drop other things into. So for example, I might want a chart, and when I click on books, I only want it to give me information for books, and then when I click on clothes, that chart will only give me information for clothes. And I'll get rid of this little area here. I don't really need that. So I just selected it and pressed delete on my keyboard. So let's just create something, a visualization within this report. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop branch into my tile area, and it gives me a list of branches. And then I'm going to maybe look at revenue. So I drop revenue into that area as well. So what has it done? It's basically split up all the revenue by each branch, which is great. However, maybe I want to view that information on a map. Looks quite boring as it is, but useful just to see it on a map. So up on this design tab, I've got this map button. So I click on map and it converts this data to a map. So there we are. All the little blue circles represent sales. Now, I've got a slight problem here because look, I've got some in the United States, North America, and some in the United Kingdom. Now, let's just go back to my data. I can't see any branches that are in the United States. But if I hovered over one of them, it would say branch Portsmouth. So there's a Portsmouth in the USA. So it's assumed that the Portsmouth belonged to USA rather than United Kingdom. This is basically information pulled from Bing Maps. So what I'm going to do is actually in my table, I'm going to create an additional column. I'm going to call it branch 2. And what I'm going to do is just qualify these locations. Very simply, I'm going to use a bit of concatenation. I'm going to say each of these branches belong to a UK location. So I've said equals, and in quotation marks, UK, comma, space, quotation marks. And then I'm going to use the ampersand symbol, which basically allows me to concatenate or join two pieces of text. So here we are, UK, and I want to join with the branch name. Press enter, and it goes down and it automatically qualifies each of these branches with the UK prefix. So I go back to my Power View, nothing seems to have happened. But what I can do is go up to my Power View tab and refresh. Now still nothing's happened, but if I expand this out, you should see now I've got branch 2 as a field name. So I'm going to click on back on my map. At the moment, the location used for my map is the branch field. So I'm going to drag that out and I'm going to put branch 2 back in. And there we are, that looks a lot better. I've now got circles only within the United Kingdom. So I can select clothes, and now it shows me the clothes sales. Select DIY, electronics, hardware, etc., etc. Okay, now maybe I wanted to view this information by year rather than by product group. So what I'm going to do is just delete what I've currently got. So I'm selecting this outer tile here, pressing delete, and everything within it disappears. Now this date field here I want to use as my tile. Now at the moment the dates are in my original data just a whole load of dates. Basically I need to be able to group them. Now, if you're used to using pivot tables, you'll know how easy it is to group dates, but we're going to have to do a little bit of work up front in order to get the Power View add-in to work with group dates. Very simply, I'm going to create 2 extra columns, one for year, one for month. And in the year column, I can very simply use the year function. So equals year, open brackets, and then the date. And that returns the date. Month, there is a month function, but that won't work for us really. If I used month, all that's going to do is return a number, not really what we want. But we can use a function called text. So what I can do is I can say take this value and return a text value that corresponds to that value. So I want to return the month. So all I did is put 3 M's in. If you know anything about date formatting, that will make sense to you. So there we are, it's returned the month. So I'll go back to my Power View. Probably remember that I'm going to have to refresh my Power View to pull that new field through. That's not, is it going to work? Yes, it's going to work. Let's do refresh all. So there we are, I've got month and I've got year there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place year onto the report. It's added up all the years at the moment as values. So it won't affect a tile, but what I can do is go down to here and say stop summarizing. And now it will allow me to create a tile, so I can convert that to a tile. Make it a little bit wider, a little bit higher, and now I've got basically tiles for each year. I can delete this. Don't need that in there at the moment. So let's do a similar thing with a map. It'll be a lot easier to use now. So don't forget, I'm going to use branch 2, and then I'm going to use revenue, and then all I need to do is convert it to a map. Right, okay, so I need to put, it hasn't picked out that branch 2 is the location, so I need just to drag branch 2 down to there, and there we are. Now it's given me all these different colours, which I don't really want, so I can take branch 2 out of colour, just drag that out, and now they're all the same colour. So if I went to 2011, 2010, 2012, I can start to see where the sales are and how big the sales are. So the bigger the circle, the bigger the sales. You get the idea. So what about this little heading? Don't really like that. I can get rid of that quite easily. Just go to the Layout tab. This is another contextual tab within the PowerView add-in. I can go to Title. I can say None. What else can I do? I can add data labels if I wanted to. So it gives me the name of each of those locations. I can also change the map background, reverse grayscale, maybe that's easy to see. I could go for aerial satellite, or I could go to grayscale. So these are all kind of Bing formatting options there. So this is quite nice. I want to add a little bit more in terms of visualization to this report. So I'm going to add some little charts. So I am going to maybe view or analyze the data by product group. So if I add product group, and then I add revenue. So there we are, I've got a nice breakdown of product group and revenue. Maybe I want to view that as a bar chart, so Design tab, bar chart. Let's go for clustered bar. Can extend that out a little bit. Maybe I also want to analyze by customer type. So if I added customer type and I added revenue, okay, and maybe I want to view that as a bar chart as well. You could play around with the layout of this until you got it just right. But the nice thing about this is obviously I can filter my data by year, and they all respond, all of these visualizations respond to this filter up here. But also I can click on one of these bars, say books, and notice all the rest kind of grayed out. And it also, based on my selection here, it shows me relevant data within this other chart, but also within the map. You can see that the map changes, this also changes. So you've got quite a kind of interactive feel to the report once you've created it. Okay, so all I've done is show you a few features that you might find useful with the PowerView add-in. This is just with a flat database or one table database. As I said at the beginning of the video, this also works with the Power Pivot add-in and the data model, and you can have multiple tables all linked up together, and you can create reports in that context as well. There are a lot more features that we haven't looked at. There are other charts that you can create and other visualizations that you can create within the PowerView add-in. This was just a little bit of a taster for you. I haven't even added a title. There we are. Let's add a little title there. But it looks pretty good. And close down this filter area as well. Okay, so it's just to talk about Blue Pecan computer training. a short little video for you on the Power View add-in. Hopefully that's been helpful.